Hey, George.
Hey, Nick.
Sorry to interrupt this episode of Reslayer's Take, but we have to tell the people about ButcherBox.
Oh, yeah. Listen, friends, we only do ads for sponsors we think are great, and ButcherBox is on our good list.
ButcherBox sent us each a customized box of high-quality meat, and they were so freaking good. It's so convenient having a box of incredible meat in your freezer without ever having to step foot in a grocery store.
And the greatest part? This antibiotic-free and humanely raised meat comes with plenty of curated tips and recipes. So whipping up awesome dinners is a cinch.
These prices are impossible to beat for the quality, and where the heck else can you get free protein for a whole dang year? Not the grocery store. So sign up at butcherbox.com/reslayer and get our special deal.
ButcherBox is offering our listeners a free for a year offer plus an additional $20 off. Choose chicken breast, salmon, or ground beef free in every order for a year. Sign up today at butcherbox.com/reslayer and use code RESLAYER to choose your free for a year offer, plus $20 off your first order.
Let's get grillin'.
What's up, everybody? It's George from the Reslayer's Take. Hey, do you remember that feeling of your first critical hit? Or are you one of those people who are getting ready to start their first journey? I have a show for you. It's called Girls Who Don't D&D, because none of this all-female team of players had ever joined a D&D game before, or any other role-playing game. They go from learning which dice is what to challenging the gods themselves. They are surrounded by a beautiful and chaotic environment that has been described as a cross between Terry Pratchett's Discworld and Douglas Adams' Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and it's a world you can be a part of too. That's because their listeners perform pre-recorded sections that fit into each show. How cool is that? Those parts and the rest of the show sound amazing, with carefully added music and effects that bring a touch of the cinematic to your experience. I think the most amazing thing is that they were complete amateurs when they started, and you should really hear how far they've come. It really does make you feel like you're sitting at the table with them. You can join this group of unassuming Australians, otherwise known as the Girls Who Don't D&D, on any device that lets you stream podcasts. But I'm warning you, this one is addictive, heartwarming, and heartbreaking, and very, very funny. And I hope you enjoy. Bye-bye! Welcome to the Reslayer's Take. I'm George Primavera.
And I'm Nick Williams. In this podcast, George and I lead a group of players through an exciting improvised adventure in Xandria, the magical world of Critical Role.
We're playing Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, but you won't need to know the rules to follow along. All you need to know is that nothing the players do is scripted or planned, and their fates are determined by their own cleverness and the random chance of rolling a 20-sided die.
You can listen to new episodes of the Reslayer's Take every Monday, anywhere you stream podcasts.
Or if you want to listen to the podcast 2 weeks early and uninterrupted by ads, join Beacon at beacon.tv.
Last but certainly not least, if you're enjoying the story, please consider leaving a rating and review. Your feedback might inspire someone new to join this adventure.
Now, without further ado,
welcome to the Reslayer's Take.
After putting out a campfire, having taken a long rest, Frog, Pyrrha, Farah, Timpani, and Poogs gather their effects they have placed along the side of a dirt path, which heads southward through the forests of the Demethor Valley. They are making their way to the small gnomish town known as Seedfeld at the direction of their recent acquaintance, Zella Blacktongue. The trees are full of life, the air full of flowery aromas. Despite winter's approach, the valley remains disproportionately warm, teeming with migrating birds and buzzing insects.
Farah picks up the boots she got from Zella. Can you do your weird hand thing on this?
Oh, absolutely. I'd be so happy to.
Frog holds up her palm to the boots.
As Frog makes contact with the boots, the same thing happens. An illusory image projects upward, and little Aeorian runes begin to scribble in the air, which Frog is easily able to read. These are indeed Graviturgy boots. The Graviturgy boots have two settings, light and heavy. When the light setting is engaged, the wearers of these boots gain a climb speed equal to their move speed, and act as if the magic spell Jump is cast on them, tripling their jump distance. However, the wearer has disadvantage on checks to escape grapples and restraints and avoid shoving attacks. And the opposing creatures gain advantage against the wearer in those contests. When the heavy setting is engaged, the wearer's weight increases by a factor of 8, The wearer's move speed is halved, and they gain advantage on checks to stop creatures from escaping from grapples and resisting shoves. Opposing creatures have disadvantage on those checks as well. You are also able to grapple creatures of huge size or smaller, rather than large size or smaller. And of course, if the dial for each ankle is set to the middle, there is no effect.
Frog explains the boot's properties to Farah.
So yeah, there's like 3 different settings to the boots, like light, heavy, and normal.
Cool, thanks. She takes the boots back and goes to pack up her things.
As Farah grabs the metallic boots, Poogs begins to stuff all of his chef's kits into his pack. Everybody roll an insight check.
24.
22.
4.
Farah, Hira, as Poogs picks up his backpack, slinging the massively heavy knapsack over his shoulders, you can tell he is downtrodden and seems a little irritable this morning.
Poogs, did one of the mosquitoes maybe get you, or maybe there was a bee in your bonnet?
No, I'm fine.
Okay, but you're not, so...
I guess when we were down in that mine and that land shark landed on you, I came to help you.
For which I am very thankful.
But then you told me to get out of there and run away.
Because I didn't want to see you get hurt.
Right, but I'm a member of this team, and I can't just sit by and watch you guys put yourselves in danger and not help. And Frog, you did the same thing when we fought the Reflection Aboleth on Shoreside Isle. You told me to get out of there, and Etran did too.
Well, Pooks, it's just that, I'm made out of metal and you're made out of soft, gooey goblin skin, and I didn't want you to get hurt.
Frog, roll an insight check.
18.
This does not seem to satisfy Poogs.
Okay, I guess forget it.
Hira sits cross-legged on the floor, kicking off her boots as she does so.
Come here, Poogs.
What?
I think I understand you, but I want to assure you that you do help us, and that there are more ways to help than in a fight. You help us with your baked goods, your plucky demeanor. These are things I cannot provide to the party. These are things only you can give us.
Roll a persuasion check.
Dirty 20.
Despite himself, Poogs does smile.
And if you do want to fight, maybe I can show you a few things so that you can slip in and out of danger easily. It would make me feel better. I think it would maybe make everyone feel better.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can also train you.
We know you have it in you, Pooks.
You guys would train me?
Yeah. Because you're very small, you could be very sneaky.
Yeah, and I could toss you or something, and you would probably go pretty far. In an advantageous way, not just to throw.
That sounds good. Okay. Thanks, guys. That makes me feel a lot better. All right, before we go, let me go find Timpani. He's been gone for a little minute.
Okay, so your hand, could it maybe figure out what's going on with my arm?
Oh yeah, let's check it out.
Frog reaches her left palm out with the new identifying palm towards Hira's markings.
As your hand lays on it, Hira, make a wisdom saving throw.
Natural 20.
As Frog's hand lays on the brand in the shape of chains that is formed on your forearm, you feel the hair on the back of your neck stand up. That presence that you have been feeling sporadically throughout your journey returns, but you feel an ability rise up within you to shunt this presence away if you desire.
Hira focuses and tries to push it away.
And it disappears. Frog's hand touches your forearm. A projected illusory image of your forearm rises above her palm. And in this image, you see a magical light pulsing within the chains.
Hira, it says here that this mark on your arm has the ability to conduct magic.
Okay, that would explain some things.
Maybe it's not a rash?
I'm going to be honest, I kind of knew that it wasn't, but I didn't want to worry anybody. but I've been seeing some weird stuff in mirrors. I might be going a little crazy, and I want you all to know right now that if that happens, Farah, I want you to do it. Okay, just do what you have to do, you know?
Wait, what?
I will kill you.
Thank you. So if this channels magic, what does this do?
Hira hands Frog the thin metallic wand.
Frog reaches out and grabs it with her left palm.
Another illusory image of the coiled wand reveals it to be a quick coil wand. This is a +1 magical arcane focus that allows the user the ability to quicken one spell per long rest, making the casting time reduce from 1 action to 1 bonus action.
Frog explains the wand's usage to Hira.
Okay, well, let's go find Timpani and Poogs.
You hear a crashing from the trees and brush to your right, and Timpani comes thundering down from the ridgeline, having scouted ahead. All right, we all packed up. The gnomish village seems to be just about a day's journey down this trail. You guys didn't get into anything important while I was gone, right?
Nope.
No.
Great.
Poogs appears from behind Timpani.
Hey, Timpani, these guys are gonna train me.
Timpani's mustache droops. Well, train you in what, exactly?
Combat.
Oh,
I'm gonna be like a real asset to the team.
well, I didn't think that was ever in question. You're a valuable asset,
I
Poogs.
can't wait to get in there and contribute and save my friends and defeat monsters.
Farah looks Timpani up and down. Her eyes narrow.
Farah, roll an insight check.
10.
Timpani is super unhappy about this decision.
What's wrong with you?
Nothing. It's just that I like Poogs the way he is, and I don't think we need to change anything about him.
We're not gonna change anything, Timp. It's just I'm gonna get a little bit better at helping.
It sounds like you're gonna get a little bit better at hurting stuff, which I kinda thought was what you were getting away from in the first place.
Stuff's been really dangerous lately. Don't you think having another person in there, fighting, doing their best would be great for everyone?
I was kinda under the impression that these three had that sorta handled, Poogs.
We almost died.
Yeah, but you didn't die, did you?
You weren't the one who was insta-jammed and went into the mouth of some magma beast.
Did I tell you to do that? You just did that.
Maybe this is a conversation for another time, guys. Timpani, we'll talk about it later.
Sounds like a plan. And Timpani picks up his big bag and starts walking down the trail.
Hira forces her hooves back into her boots, grunts, and sullenly follows as well.
Farah begrudgingly follows.
Frog looks to Poogs.
All right, let's go.
As the trees grow slightly more sparse, giving way to stumps that have been left as the result of some modest logging, we see the little Zemnian gnomish town of Seedfeld. Upon first glance, the most obvious feature is the massively thick, dark yellow cloud layer that hovers low over the town, completely blotting out the sun.
Farah examines the yellow cloud.
Farah, make an Arcana check. With advantage.
23.
The rancid smell that accompanies this cloud is sulfuric and pungent, and though there is a slight breeze moving through the town, the cloud does not react. This is some kind of magical effect. Below the cloud, the town itself seems almost fake. The houses are much smaller than any of you are accustomed to, save for Poogs, but this is not the reason for the surreal nature of the town. As you look into the town with several streets and houses, you notice one glaringly obvious feature. It is empty. The stone houses stand completely quiet and resolute. A big old tumbleweed blows across an empty street.
Should we call out and say hello?
Hello? Hello?
No response.
Worth a shot.
With an eye trained for spotting out good hiding holes, Hira casts a careful eye over the town.
Hira, roll a perception check with advantage.
13.
Scanning around the town, you see none of the gnomes that are supposed to be living here. However, on one of the nearest houses to you, you see there is a tiny little figure scrabbling across a rooftop. It pokes a furry head upward, and you see the adorable face of a white-furred gibbon, a monkey with an enormous throat pouch that swells as it calls.
Hira claps her hands excitedly and says, "Come!" accidentally speaking a word of command.
Hira's deep desire to interact with this creature manifests in a strange way. Shadows spill over her bottom lip, a few tendrils wisping through the air, making their way into the gibbon's ear, which straightens up and on two legs slowly makes its way over to Hira. As it reveals its whole body, you see it is wearing a thick golden chain with an encrusted ruby as a pendant. It hops down off the roof and reaches Hira, staring up at her as the charm slowly begins to wane.
Farah checks the ruby collar to see if there's any identifying information on it.
Immediately you can tell it is not a collar. It is simply a beautiful necklace.
Excitedly, Hira scoops up the gibbon.
It screams. Scores of gibbon heads suddenly appear on all of the surrounding rooftops, all of them wearing resplendent jewelry and chains. One massive gibbon steps up in front of the rest, its enormous throat pouch swelling. Everyone roll an animal handling check.
22.
9.
16.
24.
Farah stays absolutely still, only moving her eyes, indicating that they should do the same.
Yeah, they're saying some really mean stuff. Everybody remain calm, or else this'll get real nasty real quick.
The gibbon that Hira is holding suddenly expands its throat, and a blast of air shoots Hira backward. Make a strength saving throw.
Natural 20.
You are quickly able to put a boot back, stopping you from being knocked backward 5 feet. These wind gibbons all begin to expand their throat pockets as if they are ready to engage in combat, and the little one that came towards you retreats back to the gang, behind the massive one that seems to clearly be the leader.
As slowly as possible, Farah turns her boots to the heavy setting.
Timpani, if you know that they're saying mean things about us, can you maybe tell them that I just wanted to be friends or something?
Yeah, I'll try, but every wind gibbon I've ever met has been a real jerk.
Surely not all of them will be jerks.
Every single one I've met has tried to rob me.
Is that where they get their beautiful jewelry from? You should tell them that we have something in common. I also steal things.
And I'm also a jerk.
Are they supposed to be surrounding us?
Many wind gibbons have taken to the trees behind you, getting an advantageous position.
I'll appeal to their vanity. Symphony takes one big step forward, nice and easy. Oh, glorious leader of the wind gibbons, with your resplendent jewelry.
The largest wind gibbon perks up and moves to the edge of the rooftop.
Wow, you're even more resplendent and bigger than I could have possibly guessed.
There is a hooting and a chattering as all of the wind gibbons agree.
You're doing good.
Timpani gives a subtle thumbs up to the group. Please allow us humble peasants passage through your glorious lands. We mean not to threaten your hoards of gold.
Timpani, roll a persuasion check with advantage. All of the gibbons clearly understanding you, due to your speech of beast and leaf.
17.
The head wind gibbon regards you like a contemptuous king, makes several low guttural noises, and the rest of the wind gibbons recede. But the head wind gibbon holds out a palm expectantly.
He wants a tip.
The tip of what?
It's sort of like a toll. He's asking us for a toll to pass by his territory. Timpani pats his pockets, coming up with various squelches. I got nothing. Who's got gold?
What happened to all of your Pumat soul money?
I gave it to you guys.
Oh, okay, disregard.
I still have some of your cousin's money. Here.
Frog reaches into her knapsack and pulls out a small handful of gold, totaling 10 gold pieces.
Timpani takes the gold pieces and submissively holds the gold out for the King Gibbon with a bow, not breaking eye contact.
This quote, king, unquote, wind gibbon snatches the gold greedily out of Timpani's hands, seeming to count it, makes a satisfied grunt, and scampers back up along the rooftops.
Timpani, great job!
So you did ask him about what happened to the town, right? You got that information?
As Farah says this, a lone figure suddenly appears around the corner. A small gnome woman stumbles, looking drowsy and disoriented, a few hundred feet away. Confused, she looks around, seeming to forget where she was headed, and goes in another direction.
Farah tries to see whether or not her sleepiness feels normal.
The woman is very far away. Make an insight check with disadvantage.
19.
There is something very strange and odd that raises your hackles immediately about this interaction.
I say we follow.
Crawling down almost on all fours, Hira slinks in pursuit.
Light on her feet, Frog follows close behind Hira.
Farah switches her boots back to their normal mode, and knowing she's not the stealthiest, stays a couple paces behind the two of them.
Boogs joins Farah.
As does Timpani.
Hira, Frog, make stealth checks.
23.
Dirty 20.
Silently, you creep through the cobblestone-streeted town. An eerie wind whistles between the buildings, and as you round the corner, you see the gnomish woman holding a broom, sweeping the very middle of the street.
Hira, do people usually sweep outside?
I guess maybe if they're weird.
Hira, Frog, make perception checks.
12.
7.
The gnomish woman is faced away from you, but Hira, you can see that she is well built, rippling with back muscle. She stands at about 3'9", tall for a gnome.
Having a good eye for detail, Hira examines the woman's stance and how she holds the broom, looking to see if she has any obvious combat training.
Make an insight check with disadvantage.
18.
The way this woman holds this broom, sweeping massive clouds of dust into the air with each stroke, betrays an immense strength.
You know, Frog, it looks like this woman is a very skilled fighter. She's very strong. Does not strike me as some type of street sweeper.
Do you think something might be forcing her to sweep instead of fight?
We should check it out.
Farah readies her crossbow just in case.
Farah, make a perception check.
Nat 20.
The first thing you notice is that your crossbow is still very much inactive. No ghosts seemingly present.
Okay, so that's a good sign so far.
As the woman turns around, dusting the street, her eyes cast down to the ground, you see a bright red-colored leather armor piece that looks well worn, ornamented with white and gold.
Okay, I'll go with you.
Okay,
You just don't want to sneak up on somebody who is,
sweeping.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you just say hi or whatever, the way you go hello and do that.
Okay. Okay.
Frog straightens her poncho, levels her glasses, and with her shoulders confidently set, she steps forward towards this gnome woman.
Hello?
She continues to sweep.
Hira, nothing happened?
Suspicious, Hira looks up and down the street to see if anyone is watching them.
Make a perception check.
16.
No one appears to be present.
Frog, maybe you can use your little trick to see if there's something wrong with them.
Oh, my identifying palm? That's a great idea, Hira. You're so smart. Let's go for it.
Frog kneels down next to the gnome woman and places her hand gently on her shoulder.
As soon as you touch her shoulder, she bats your hand out of the way with a quick reaction.
Whoa!
Not to damage you, just to keep you off of her. And then suddenly, she looks up at you with hooded eyes and a confused expression.
Oh, I did not expect guests. It is so filthy in the barracks. I have to keep sweeping. I cannot let my soldier see it gets this filthy.
Well, we are the soldiers and we demand an inspection of the barracks right now.
Frog whispers to Hira.
What are you doing?
I have some experience with the city watch. This is how they all are.
Oh, okay.
Hira, make a deception check. With advantage.
24.
This is very unorthodox. I am so sorry. I was not expecting company. The barracks are so filthy, so filthy.
The woman turns around, confused, unlatching the gate to a small tomato garden full of dead plants.
I didn't expect guests. The barracks are so filthy.
And all of a sudden, there is a thundering stomping from down the street as another gnome rapidly approaches. Your heads turn and see this figure.
You see there is a rock gnome that is thundering down the street. The sound that is produced from their boots almost incongruous with how small they are, but their sinewy muscle expands and contracts as they make their way down. What you do notice is that while they do have 2 daggers wielded in both hands, they also have 2 daggers that are strapped haphazardly to their feet and 1 more dagger in their mouth. They have olive skin and they have a bit of a headband around their forehead that is a bit of fur that also acts as like a sweatband. They have blonde hair that comes out in a swoop that is currently flowing as they're rushing forward to attack you.
What a glorious being!
Hira, rapidly casting friends, straightens up and salutes the oncoming gnome. Attention!
Hira, roll a deception check with advantage as something akin to a purple mist expels from your mouth, wafting over this approaching gnome's face.
Dirty 20.
Norbert, make an insight check.
18. They sort of strike up an intimidating pose, or what they think is intimidating, and then fall under it, and one of the daggers, the one in his mouth, drops with a clank on the ground. You are not bandits? Here to take our treasures?
No, we are here to inspect the You don't seem to be under whatever spell is affecting this woman here.
Yes, so you have noticed. Yes, Zora, we have to get you back. Switching tactics altogether, Norbert walks over to the gnomish woman and tries to negotiate her way back to the building.
Zora. Yes. Zora the Red. Yes, that is my name.
That is right, you are one of the mega magic paladins. You are the red one.
Yes, that is right. Oh, we have guests. It is so filthy. We need to clean the barracks.
Yes, I believe they are here to help us. Finally, some help has arrived. Oh, I almost forgot. Norbert then remembers the dagger that had fallen out of his mouth, and he picks it up, and there is red banding along the handle, almost matching the same red tone as the gnomish woman's armor.
Yeah, we're here to help clean up. We're really good at it.
Hira waves over to the rest of the party as if to indicate that they should join them.
Poogs is already halfway there, mid-sprint.
Beware! There are bandits coming! Arm yourselves!
No. They are also here to help.
I'm coming to kick his butt!
Poogs, wait!
Poog stops.
These are friends, and we're here to help clean up the barracks.
Farah walks over and gestures for Timpani to follow.
Timpani gives Poogs a sidelong glance and approaches the 2 strangers. Yeah, we're here to help clean the barracks. We're the Reslayer's Take.
Oh, thank goodness! The Slayer's Take, you are back here! Once again!
Oh, no.
Yes, that's us.
Farah, make a deception check.
7.
Norbert, an insight check.
13. Well, if you're associated with the Slayer's Take, surely you must be formidable. Come, let us get inside and get you out of this fog.
And now for a brief intermission.
Creating really great retail experiences is tough, especially with multiple stores, teams of staff, fulfillment centers, separate workflows. It's a lot. But with Shopify Point of Sale, you can do it all without complexity.
Shopify's point of sale system is a unified command center for your retail business. It brings together in-store and online operations, even across 1,000 locations.
Imagine being able to guarantee that shopping is always convenient. Endless aisles, ship to customer, buy online, pickup in stores, all made simpler so customers can shop how and where they want and staff have the tools they need to close the sale every time.
And let's face it, acquiring new customers is expensive. With Shopify POS, you can keep existing shoppers coming back to your stores with consistent, tailored experiences and first-party data that give marketing teams a competitive edge.
Want more?
Yeah!
Check it out at shopify.com/r/ all lowercase and learn how to create the best retail experiences without complexity.
That's shopify.com/r/.
Cha-ching!
With the planning, recording, and editing that go into the Reslayer's Take, Nick and I aren't left with a lot of time for exercise.
Luckily, our sponsor, Tonal, has helped us use the time we actually have to create personalized workouts just for us. Tonal learns from your movement and provides suggested weight recommendations for every move, and they even give you detailed reports on your progress.
They create personalized programs and workout suggestions based on your individual goals. Like me, I want the rogue-like agility to backflip over dungeon traps.
And I want the berserker strength to hold a heavy door up for my friends so they can escape the undead hordes thanks to my heroic sacrifice. With Tonal, you can do it all. It's like having a personal trainer at home with you.
Unlike traditional gym equipment, Tonal uses adaptive digital weight to advance your training techniques.
Whether you're a professional athlete or a cake-loving dungeon master like us, Tonal can be trusted to help you become your strongest, most fit self.
Right now, Tonal is offering our listeners $200 off your Tonal purchase with promo code RESLAYER. That's Tonal.com and use promo code RESLAYER for $200 off your purchase.
Tonal.com, promo code RESLAYER for $200 off.
Let's roll those athletics checks.
I'm Nick Friedman.
I'm Lee Alec Murray.
And I'm Leah President. And this is Crunchyroll Presents The Anime Effect.
We are a new show breaking down the anime news, views, and shows you care about each and every week. I can't think of a better studio to bring something like this to life. And
I agree. We're covering all the classics.
if I don't know a lot about Godzilla, which I do, but I'm trying to pretend that I don't right now.
Hold it in. And our current faves. Luffy must have his due.
Tune in every week for the latest anime updates and possibly a few debates.
Oof.
I remember, what was that?
Say what you're going to say and I'll circle back.
You can listen to Crunchyroll Presents The Anime Effect every Friday wherever you get your podcasts. And watch full video episodes on Crunchyroll or the Crunchyroll YouTube channel.
Now back to the show.
Norbert is able to negotiate Zora in a direction that is towards the building and ushers her, as well as the party, into what looks like an abandoned tavern.
The tavern smells like stale ale. Empty casks and barrels are stacked neatly in the corner. The chairs and tables also stacked in the corner to leave a fair amount of empty space in the middle of this 30 by 20 room. There are a few cots in the corner, two of which are occupied by sleeping and drowsy gnomes, and next to those cots are a few crates of moldy fruit, rations that are getting dangerously low. There is another gnome standing against the wall, staring directly at it, and another gnomish woman is sitting with her legs crossed, wiping her face over and over again with a bright yellow scarf, as if trying to get something out of her eyes. But all of them appear subdued and slightly sedated.
There you go, Zora. We put you back into your cot.
But we will not be ready for the inspection.
Yes, I will tell them your apologies. Again, sorry for the state of everything in here. We are dealing with this crisis of this, well, I'm sure you noticed, this fog that is out there. I'm surprised that you were able to make it past the wind gibbons. They've been giving everyone trouble and preventing people from coming into the village.
Are they the ones who've done all of this?
I'm afraid not. It must have been this fog.
For generations, Seedfeld, that's where you are, by the way. Welcome to Seedfeld. I'm Norbert Klatt. Seedfeld was a thriving gnomish hamlet, full of laughter and life. The only trouble we ever had was a decade ago. A troll had taken up residence in the mountain Ugelberg, torturing the village every chance it had. And the Slayer's take was they dealt with it. But at the beginning of last summer, strange things started to happen. We noticed a massive plume of viscous yellow smoke billowing out from the mouth of the cave, where the troll once lived. So viscous at times that it would block out the sun. Oh no. Over those tense months, we sent many parties to investigate, including our very finest. Everyone came back with various injuries, but couldn't tell us what had happened to them. Eventually, all the crops had died because the sun was blocked out by the smog, and all the townsfolk, they fled for help. I was left alone in the village with these heroes, the ones who protected us at every turn. It was some of the greatest warriors that the world has ever known, much less our village. I'm here to stop bandits and looters from coming in and taking our treasures, taking our culture, taking everything away from us. But someday I know they will return their mental faculties. The mega magic paladins! They had these. And he'll hold out the daggers that he had before, and you'll notice that each of them do have a colorful band around the handles. They carried these weapons, and I remember from when I was very young, they would defeat their enemies. They would strike a pose, and a magical blast would follow. But I could never get them to work. It is said that when you use all 5 of the daggers together, something powerful would happen, and I just can't get it.
At this, the gnome that is standing against the wall, clad in a bark-like armor, suffused with green moss, walks through the center of all of you, as if not acknowledging that any of you are talking, and they turn with a lazy disposition.
Oh, I am so sorry. No autographs today.
And they go to a cot, pulling up a blanket, crawling under it, and almost immediately snoring. At this loud snore, the other 2 gnomes shift in the cot, one clad all in blue, the other with a bright pink headpiece.
So where do the wind gibbons fit in all this?
They started harassing us and appearing when people had to leave. They left sometimes without the valuables, things that were not essential, and they started raiding and coming in and collecting things. I almost envy them in their slumber here because I haven't been able to sleep very well recently. There's a glowing light at the north from the mouth of the cave that the troll was once in. It makes it hard to sleep, and every time I look up at it for too long, the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. It sounds a little crazy, but it feels like someone is staring back at me.
I don't think that's crazy at all, Norbert. And you've never been close to the cave?
That is what happened to these wonderful heroes. Of course, I was their trainer, physical trainer. I would make sure they were in top shape. But now they've returned without their minds. Their bodies are good, but their heads are nowhere to be found.
So there are 5 daggers and 5 of us. What a coincidence.
You cannot have the daggers.
Okay, that's fair.
They are precious to me and to them. If we can figure out what is happening, perhaps we can bring them back. And they will be mighty warriors once again.
I'd love to see that.
So we'll just climb up into that mountain, and if our previous experience is to be trusted, we'll re-slay that troll.
Frog, why don't you open your little book, see if there's maybe some fire magma breath that's gonna maybe kill all of us as soon as we walk in.
Oh, you're so right. Okay, so I'm looking for a troll from Ugelberg?
Yes, the troll's name was Ugel, and the mountain is named Ugelberg, because he lives there.
Okay.
Frog unslings her monster tome and flips through the pages looking for any information about this troll.
Roll an investigation check with advantage.
17.
you find nothing under the name Ugelberg. However, scanning a bit further, under the town name of Seedfeld, you do indeed find a slaying ledger. The details here are sparse. The meager report details a troll slain about 10 years ago, with all of the notes regarding the actual slaying of the troll specifying it to be an unremarkable quarry. However, there is a bit of a side notation. In scribbled writing, this reads, "One heck of a den. Possible subsequent exploration?" ?
Farah tries to think back on her experience and wonders if any ghosts or spectral beings have the power to do what has been done to these gnomes.
Roll an Arcana check with advantage.
18.
While nothing specific springs to mind, you think back on your time at Shoreside Isle. The villagers there were charmed, mind-controlled by the reflection aboleth. And while you haven't seen anything quite like this, it is not a far leap to assume that any of the Timberblight's mischief could provide a similar disorienting effect, though the gnomes here do not appear to be under any direct influence. Roll a medicine check, Farah.
15.
The green-clad warrior once again exits their bed, walking through the center of you.
No autographs today, please.
And as they pass, moving to a prone position in the corner of the room, you notice a yellow, dusty spore residue on the exterior of their ears.
Farah walks up to the green paladin, crouches down, and examines the yellow residue.
As you grab this gnome's ear, they do not react. A bit of the yellow residue comes off on your finger. It seems unremarkable, like a pollen of sorts.
Remembering the events of Shoreside Isle, Farah gives her team a knowing look. Heck of a storm we're having.
Oh, like mind control?
I don't think it's the exact same thing, but probably something similar, like what Timpani had.
Oh, should I try identifying it, see if it works? Mr. Clot, would it be okay if I touched one of these wonderful paladins? I have this palm, and it helps us figure things out. It might give us some clues as to what's happening.
Yes, I believe I could make this happen. Norbert turns over to Finn, who is this gnome clad in green, and in a practiced movement, waves his hand near their face and says, "The doctor is going to take a look at you now, Finn."
Oh, please, no autographs now.
Maybe we'll do autographs afterwards, but I know you're very busy. Go ahead.
Thank you.
And Frog carefully places her palm on Finn's shoulder.
Norbert, make an investigation check.
Dirty 20.
As Frog leans down to Finn, your eyes fall upon her elbow joints. At first glance, Frog seems like a tall figure clad in plate mail from head to toe. But as you see through the crack in the armor, you see only more metal and steel whirring from within. Frog appears to be completely composed of mechanical parts.
Whoa, what an amazing structure you have. Sorry, continue.
No, thank you so much. Now let's see if I can get any readings here.
Frog, an illusory projection of Finn, this gnome, lifts into the air, and the Aeorian script that would normally follow is delayed. You see, very similar to when you identified what was going on with Sasha, there is something moving through the brain of Finn, like a swarming of gnats. Make an Arcana check.
8.
Finally, Aeorian runes appear, effect unable to be identified. You are not sure what this means.
I'm sorry, it just seems like some kind of infestation or infection, but I can't get any details.
But this means it can be cured, yes?
I think everything has a solution.
That is a good way to look at life.
Timpani, do you want to maybe try to fix Finn?
Timpani steps forward and gingerly cradles Finn's head and draws the same mossy sigil on their forehead that he did on Sasha, casting Lesser Restoration.
There is a pulsing of light. Finn looks up at Timpani, and they say,
I'm sorry. No autographs, please.
Lesser Restoration is ineffective.
I thought that would work.
Me too. I'm sorry, Mr. Klatt.
It's okay. We had our best healers also trying to work on this case, and they decided that it was too dangerous to move them, so they were left behind, and I volunteered to guard them.
If your palm works like any other identifying spell, it's not going to detect a curse.
Oh, you saying they are cursed? That is worse than an infection.
Are curses contagious?
Oh, I hope not.
Kira has shrunk against the far side of the inn, as far away from Finn as possible.
Timpani, what do we do?
Well, I think the only thing we can do is go up and investigate that cave.
You're going up into the cave in Ugelberg? Unbelievable! I told you it's dangerous.
Well, actually, Mr. Klott, I think we're all going up to the cave in Ugelberg with you. I think we're gonna need your local expertise. Poogs, I think it might be best if you stay here and look after the Mega Magic Paladins, so that Mr. Klott has an opportunity to come up with us and his hands aren't full helping these fine folks.
Timpani, roll a persuasion check with disadvantage.
3.
What? No, I gotta come with you guys. I thought that I was gonna help from now on.
This is how you can help, Poogs.
As Timpani says this, Norbert walks over to Poogs eye to eye. I see it within you. I train them, you know. The Mega Magic Paladins. I see a great warrior here. I would not entrust them to anyone else. You seem strong.
Roll a persuasion check, Norbert.
18.
Poogs thinks for a second, casting a slightly upset eye up at Timpani, but then looks back towards Norbert, acquiescing begrudgingly.
Okay. I'll watch the Mega Magic Paladins.
Norbert takes off the sweatband and places it on Poogs' head. I trust you.
Be careful, guys. I won't let you down, Norbert.
And if we come back like the Paladins, you must take care of us too.
Please don't come back like that, okay?
Timpani, knowing how much he's disappointed Poogs, puts one big meaty hand on Poogs' shoulder. I know it's not what you were hoping for, but it's a burden only you could possibly carry. If we come back like that, I wouldn't have anybody else watching over me.
Thanks, Timpani.
But Pooks, before we go, we gotta get one more group cheer for the road.
And Frog throws her fist out in front of her.
Oh, this is what the Paladins used to do too!
Boom! As the Re-Slayers, joined by Norbert, leave Poogs behind, their eyes are cast upwards towards the source of the yellow, noxious fumes belching out of the mountain's peak, the mountain of Ugelberg. The mountain is very high, and though the ground slopes up with trees and roots at about a 45-degree angle, making for a steep hike but nothing particularly dangerous, the path suddenly becomes blocked by a sheer cliff face.
Farah turns her boots to the light mode and starts climbing the cliff face.
This effect reverberates through your entire body. Your arms begin to lift at your sides unconsciously as you feel a burden of weight lifted from you.
Farah turns to Hira. Do you have any more of those, the piton things?
Wordlessly, Hira pulls out 4.
Farah takes one of them and starts to climb.
Farah, roll an athletics check with advantage.
16.
Farah begins to scrabble her way up the rocky face. It is much easier to maneuver. Even when a few rocks slip from underneath your fingers, you are able to grab a crevice of the rock and hold your very light body in place. Roll another athletics check with advantage.
19.
As the natural foot and handholds begin to disappear from the cliff, Farah finds a small crevice that she is able to jam her body between, and using her legs and her back, shimmies up the crevice. Farah, roll a perception check.
14.
And as you scrabble your way up, you believe you hear movement coming from deep within the recesses of the cliff, but you don't see anything.
Farah tries to see whether or not she recognizes the type of movement within these holes.
Make a nature check.
Dirty 20.
Wafting out of the hole, there is a slightly alcoholic burning smell. accompanied by something sickly sweet. Based on the setting that you find yourself in, you determine that these may be cave fisher burrows. A cave fisher is a massive, white, lobster-like creature with a stinger on its rear tail, with the ability to fire out a sticky filament that reels its prey in.
Farah climbs faster.
Roll an athletics check with advantage.
Nat 20.
Motivated to move more quickly, Farah finally crests the top of the mountain. As you bring yourself to your feet, looking ahead of you, you see a 20-foot archway, but there is a glowing barrier blocking the entrance to the cave, very much like the one that you had to venture into to find Rhymefang's ghostly bones. Your crossbow quietly activates.
Farah sticks Hira's piton on the ledge, ties a rope at the end, and throws the rope down to her friends. She switches her boots to heavy mode, and as an extra anchor, holds on to the piton. Farah takes the earpiece out of her bag, holds it up to indicate to her friends to do the same, and puts it in her ear.
As the Reslayers place their earpieces within their ears, frogs magnetizing directly to her head, you hear Farah's voice crackle over them.
Okay, guys, climb on up, but avoid the holes in the cliff face.
Got it. Let's do this.
Timpani ponders what could have made holes in the cliff face.
Timpani, roll a nature check.
28. Oh boy, holes in the cliff face. That's gonna be cave fishers. They're nasty bugs. Give those burrows a wide berth or else they'll snatch you.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh, I haven't had cave fishers in so long. They are so good with garlic butter.
Hira tugs on the rope and attempts to scramble up the cliff face.
Hira, make an acrobatics check with advantage.
Dirty 20.
Roll a stealth check.
Natural 1.
Hira, you Superman up the rope, barely touching the cliff face. As you get to the crevice that Farah shimmied up, seeing the little burrow she was referring to, roll a perception check.
13.
You see the very beginnings of a massive, one-eyed face that looks very much like a lobster's face, but with a spiral of teeth. And as you see this face, something shoots out from the hole, connecting with your knee, a long, sticky white tendril like a spider's web that begins to tug you off the rope. Make a strength saving throw.
5.
You are yanked from the rope, slamming downward against the edge of the cliff. You take 8 points of bludgeoning damage, bringing you to 37 points of health. And all of a sudden, this white tendril begins to reel you in, pulling you upward, away from your rope, into the burrow. Farah, you feel the rope go slack.
Farah looks over the cliff face and sees the lobster pulling Hira in. She grabs a nearby rock and tries to drop it on the lobster.
Farah, roll an improvised attack with disadvantage.
Natural 1.
Farah drops the rock, attempting to smash the protruding cave fisher's head to release Hira. But her trajectory is off. The rock plummets, falls past the cave fisher, and slams into Hira, bringing her to a single point of health, and Hira is stunned. Hira begins to be reeled further and further back up into the hole, pulled to the entrance of the cave burrow.
Oh, something bad happened up there. We gotta get up there real quick.
Focusing her mind, Frog, like the wind, climbs up the rope.
Before Frog leaps up the rope, Timpani reaches deep into a pocket and pulls out a cougar claw and quickly fastens it to Frog's arm with a bit of twine, casting Enhance Ability, Cat's Grace.
Frog, make an acrobatics check with advantage.
21.
Frog shoots up the rope, fast as the wind, and reaches the stunned, very injured Hira. The cave fisher continues to reel her into the burrow, hungrily drooling.
You're not going with that big bug. You're staying here with us.
Holding one arm tightly on the rope, Frog reaches towards Hira.
Roll an athletics check.
13.
Grabbing Hera with all the effort she can muster, the filament restraining her snaps as Frog pulls Hera away.
Keeping her momentum, Frog continues up the rope, holding tightly onto Hera.
Another filament shoots out, attaching itself to Frog's ankle. Make a strength saving throw.
9.
Frog, as you are pulled off the rope, you slam into the rock, protecting Hera, but take 9 points of bludgeoning damage, bringing you to 47 points of health.
Farah, knowing she messed up, quietly goes back to the piton and holds it. Oh man, that was really bad.
This is really bad.
This is not good.
Why don't we go up at the same time so we can deal with it together?
Okay.
Timpani scoops the muscular gnome onto his shoulders and begins climbing the rope.
Timpani, roll an athletics check with advantage.
16.
Timpani makes his way up the rope, Norbert clinging to his back.
Norbert coils powerful legs onto Timpani's shoulders and springs forward onto the edge of this fissure where the others are.
Make an athletics check.
25.
Norbert fires up towards the cliff face, landing next to Frog and Hera.
Norbert pulls himself up with a grunt and takes out his battle axe. Norbert takes careful aim at the filament and cleaves down a mighty swing.
Roll an attack.
12.
There's a scroinging sound as the axe bends the filament but does not cut through it.
Norbert tries again with a second attack. Natural 20. Norbert takes careful aim again at the filament. It did seem weaker by the first strike, but now there's an opening. Norbert targets that opening and swings the axe down with a mighty clang as it reverberates off of the stone walls.
As the filament snaps, the cave fissure retreats back into the burrow. Frog and Hera begin to plummet towards the earth. Frog, make a dexterity saving throw with advantage.
14.
Just barely. Frog grabs the rope, continues to plummet, smoke emitting from her palm as the rope burns the steel, and finally her movement arrests, holding Hera, whose eyes refocus as she shakes her stunned condition.
I broke my horn. From here on forth, Frog, I swear a blood oath, vengeance against all of the cave fishers. I will kill.
And her eyes unfocus again.
You got it, Hera.
Timpani continues his climb, scooping Norbert again, and crests the edge of the cliff. Oh good, Farah, you're safe. I assumed that something was up here throwing those rocks. Maybe, the King Gibbon or something.
No, that just fell.
Farah, roll a deception check.
12.
Whew. Mr. Klatt, you were right. Ugloberg is dangerous.
Very much so. These rocks, they can fall at any moment.
Carefully, holding Hera as tight as she can, Frog makes her way up the cliff.
Hera carefully takes off her cowboy boots, folds her legs underneath her. Her cracked horn dangles by the side of her cheek, held on only by the ribbons wrapped around it.
I need a minute.
And she lays down on the rock.
Hera, Farah, Frog, Timpani, and Norbert stand just a few feet away from the cave entrance. The glowing barrier parts slightly as the ghostly weapons enter the proximal range of the spectral membrane. There is yellow gas obscuring the way forward.
Hera, you okay?
I just need a little nap. I just need a short rest.
She gathers her shattered horn underneath her head like a pillow.
Feeling guilty, Farah turns to the rest of the group. For the god's sake, let her rest, okay?
Yes, perhaps we should take a moment to collect ourselves. It can only get more dangerous from here on out.
I think that's a good idea. Timpani creates a small bonfire for them to rest around.
The orange light of the fire mixes with the light green pulsing of the barrier at the cave's entrance, as the Reslayers plus Norbert take a moment of respite. The Reslayers Take is a Metapigeon production in partnership with and distributed by Critical Role Productions, developed in association with Hero Club. Game mastered and produced by George Primavera and Nick Williams, featuring Nick Williams as Timpani Guff, George Primavera as Poogs, Jasmine Bhullar as Hira Agnihart, Jasmine Chiong as Farah, and Caroline Lux as Frog. With special guest Xander Jeanneret as Norbert Klott. Also featuring Danny Carr as Zora the Red and Liam O'Brien as Finn the Green. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Xander?
I told you she was gonna come. I didn't. I just
Is
said
Kimberly here? Do you have the pink dagger?
No, I have all of them. So